Okay, I'm going to take a look at Bricks here. So Bricks is a good training application for performing vulnerability assessments or pen tests, web applications. It's a good application for learning the basics of these types of attacks. Granted, it's sort of outdated, and so should these attacks be. But unfortunately, I'm sure you will come across systems in the real world that where these sort of vulnerabilities do exist. So I will put a link to the URL and where to download Bricks in the description. But for now, let's get right to it. We're going to go to the root here, and we've got login attacks, file upload attacks, and content page attacks. So I could do a video on these two another time, but today we're going to focus on just the login pages. All right, so when we log in here, we see that we've got different types of login attacks, and they kind of give you a hint here. We've got basic logins, JavaScript validation, a couple more basic, password and MD5, and automatic redirect. So what we're going to do is we're going to bypass all of these login pages, and I'm going to show you how that's done. So let's go into number one. The first thing I would do in this scenario is put in an arbitrary username and password of username and password. So the error indicates a SQL injection attack here. So I'm going to try the most basic SQL injection login attack, which I did a video on this previously. If you want to go back to my page, it goes more in depth with the explanation. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to say where the username equals X or where 1 equals 1. There's highly doubtful a username in that database that is X, but 1 does equal 1. So I'm going to bypass this login with a true statement. All I need to do is comment out the password field so that it doesn't do that additional check. But the validation on this page does force you to enter a password, so I'll just put an X in there and let's see if this works. It does not work. So what did I do wrong? Let me try this again. X or 1 equals 1. Did I mistype something? X or 1 equals 1. Let's try hash sign. Sometimes these comments are a little different based on the version of SQL. There we go. So the hash sign worked. So it didn't like that. That's interesting. Let me see. I'm going to try it again just because I'm curious now. This is one of those things that drives me a little nuts. I'm like, wait, why'd that not work? Okay, so all right, didn't like the dashes and slashes, so that's fine. The hash works. So let's see if we can recreate it. Let's try where user is Jimmy or 1 equals 1. And we put our hash sign, password, and it gets us in. So there you go. So the first one is this sort of syntax. So a username, a quote, and then just a true statement and a hash to comment out the rest. So there we go. So now let's go to number 2. So this is JavaScript validation. Let's check this out. So I'm going to do the same thing, admin password, and we get the same error, but it's saying JavaScript validation. So I want to check the source, and there's our SQL query. Okay, right here, we have a script here. We have a JavaScript. So we can see it here. Unsaved characters, it's saying all the characters, or listing all the characters here. Length alert too long, so it could be too long. Okay, so bottom line here is there's JavaScript within the page that's validating the entry. So we can bypass that too. So what we're going to do for that is we're going to use Burp Suite. So this is a web proxy, multi-use. There's a lot you could do with this. You could do a whole series of videos just on this tool. But today I'm just going to take the default options and I'm going to use the proxy function of Burp to bypass this login screen. And I'll show you how. So nope, I don't want the repeater. Proxy, I'm going to open the browser. So I'm going to open Burp's browser. What this does is it can pipe all the requests through this internal proxy. So let me take the URL. And what I'm going to do, and I'm going to try to explain this as best I can. So we have admin, password. So here's what happens. When I submit this, the JavaScript in this page on submit, because if we look at let's go back into the source. This is an on submit function. So where's our form, action, PHP, on submit right here. So when we hit submit on this form, it's calling this JavaScript. So then what's happening is that JavaScript is looking at these fields, and if any of those non-valid characters exist, it's throwing an error and not letting you log in. However, if we use Burp's proxy, we're passing valid information here. So we have admin password. It's going to bypass that validation, send the request to the proxy. We're going to intercept it, and then we can add our SQL injection attack from there. So watch how it's done. So first I need to turn my interceptor on, and then I'm going to submit the page. All right, so Burp captures the request, and here we have username, admin, password. So what I'm going to do here is very simple. I'm just going to say where the username is admin, or 1 equals 1. And let's see if we have luck with that. There we go. So it allowed me to perform the same type of attack. I just captured the request in Burp Suite. So that's that. So I'm going to close this browser in Burp for now, but I'll leave Burp open just because we may end up using it again. Let's minimize. We may not. Okay, so close out of that. So we've bypassed the first two. So now on to the third. Same deal, guys. Admin, if I can type. Password. Okay, right off the bat, I think I see what we need here. So select all users from blah, 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 we know the drill. There are parentheses around this. So I believe if I just use the same logic I did earlier, but just add the parenthesis, we should be good. Or 1 equals 1. Hashtag X. Boom. All right. So that's all. We just needed to comment this full admin, or enclose the full admin parameter there. So we had to use the parenthesis and the single quote. So that's number 3. So let's go to 4 now. And let's see what this one's doing. Okay, it looks like the same thing, but with double quotes, not a single quote. Let's try it. Admin. And sometimes with these things, you look at them, and at first glance, you're like, what the heck am I supposed to do with this? And then it's like a magic trick. Once you uncover how it's done, you're like, wow, that's it. That's all there is to it. And you find that with a lot of these types of things. It's like the whole hindsight thing. Okay, so we're going to do the same type of attack, but we're going to add the double quotes rather than the single quotes, which will enclose the admin value and allow us to add that true statement and comment out the rest. And we're in. Okay. So we're blowing through these. So we've bypassed the first 4, password and MD5. Okay, well, that shouldn't really matter. It's just hashing a password. I don't know what we would have to do different on our end, but we'll find out. Admin, password. So we have an MD5 hash for the password. I mean, okay, we're bypassing the password, so that really shouldn't matter. So let's try our initial attack. Right, because we're commenting this out anyway, so who cares if it's hashed or not? That's kind of a odd thing to throw at you here. All right, let's submit. Yeah, there is. Nice and easy. All right, last but not least, automatic redirect. So for this one, let's try admin password. Okay, so I guess doesn't matter what we put in. It redirects us to the site. So I guess that's the automatic redirect vulnerability. Somebody misconfigured this site where you really don't need credentials. I guess you can just hit enter. Let's try it with nothing. Yeah. All right. Wow, that was the easiest of all of them. So there you go, guys. So there's the login pages for Bricks. Like I said, another time I can do file upload and content pages, but hopefully this helped shed a little light on how to approach these kinds of issues when you run into them, or whether you're testing a system, doing an assessment, what have you. It's just the approach, building your methodology and understanding how these things work in the background. These were fairly easy. I realized, some of them maybe up front would seem a little daunting, but I mean, look, we used pretty much the same attack all the way through. It was just how we carried it out. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Please like and subscribe. As always, thanks for watching, and any comments would be much appreciated. I'd like to know if this is helpful to people. If you're getting anything out of these things, I mean, I love to share my knowledge. I've been in IT security in some shape or form throughout my entire career, so I've got tons to share. I've just been a little swamped with side projects and training that I'm doing, so it's been tough for me to get some of these videos out there as fast as I'd like to. But yeah, I've got a lot of fun stuff coming up for sure, and hopefully the quality is better. I realized that some of my past videos, the quality wasn't great. I'm not a YouTuber by trade, so this is new to me. So I had to tweak some of my recording settings. So hopefully you guys were able to see this better than some of the other videos, which I may pull down and redo. So anyway, as I said, thanks for watching, and I'd appreciate you liking and subscribing if you're getting something out of this.